Hi. The Mennyms, Chapter 5, The Leg. When Vinetta saw Joshua's leg and heard the tale he had to tell, she was all concern and sympathy. She'd never seen a rat except in Aunt Kate's encyclopedia, but she knew she would have been 10 times as terrified as Joshua if the same thing had happened to her. "You were very brave," she said soothingly. At the same time, she looked at the damaged leg and thought silently that he had made a very poor job of taping it up. As it was, the leg from the thigh nearly to the top of his boot was swathed in crumpled sticky tape. Obviously done in a panic, removing it would not be pleasant. Staying matter-of-fact, Vinetta helped Joshua to his usual armchair and turned on the television where the morning news was slowing down to a trickle. She gave him a pretend mug of tea, and he went through the usual reassuring ritual of make-believe drinking. "That was nice. You do make a good cup of tea," he said as he put the mug down on the little table by the side of his chair. Vinetta could make everything seem manageable and normal. As the news finished, she turned off the TV. "Now," said Vinetta cautiously, "I will have to do something about that leg." Joshua looked as if he had much rather not, but he knew that he'd have to accept the inevitable. First, I'll remove all of that sticky tape," said Vinetta quite firmly. She tugged at it ruthlessly till tape, cable and bits of leg were strewn all round his feet. Joshua watched in dazed dismay. Ignoring the expression on her husband's face, Vinetta said in a most businesslike manner, "I'll have to go to market and get a length of material and some filling to renew that leg." It was easy to shop in the market with a hat or a headscarf pulled well over one's face, a pair of tinted spectacles to hide the button eyes, and a coat collar turned up to give more shadow. Vinetta often went to the market, but market days were Thursday and Saturday. Joshua knew that well enough. "What about work tonight? I'll need my leg before then." "Can't be done," said Vinetta. "You'll just have to be off sick. That's something you haven't done before. You are within your rights." Joshua looked unconvinced. In fact, he looked positively worried. "I don't know how to be off sick. Somebody would have to be told. That firm trusts me." "Phone them," said Vinetta practically, "or let me phone them for you." Joshua's expression became pained. "Apart from that interview, which was mercifully short, I've never spoken to them. I don't want to speak to them. They might get friendly. They might send Charlie round to see how I am. It's too involved. It's dangerous." Vinetta could see the point of this. "We'll ask Appleby," she said at last. It wasn't that Appleby was wiser than anybody else. It was just that the whole family knew that, as after 40 years of living together, they were bound to know that their adolescent member was better than any of them at creating plausible fictions. "Appleby," called her mother from the foot of the stairs. "Appleby." Vinetta's voice rose an octave and sounded irritated. "What do you want now?" snapped her gangly daughter, leaning over the banister. "Is that any way to speak to your mother?" said Vinetta crossly. "You're getting worse. I wouldn't have called you so early if it weren't important. Come down here and I'll explain." Appleby came slowly down the stairs. Let's wait for that. She was a long, thin girl doll, dressed in jeans and a very long, narrow sweater. Not made by Kate or Vinetta, but bought quite recently at the market. Well, she pouted. Kate had somehow put truculence into Appleby's soul. It took different forms at different times, but it was always there. She was nearest in age to Subi, but they were so totally unalike that it was difficult to see them as members of the same family. Her face, for a start, was flesh pink, and Subi's, unique even in this odd family, was completely blue. It was stocky, sturdy Subi, with his silver button eyes and suit of striped blue linen, who sat quietly, day in, day out, at the bay window, watching the birds and the trees and the people who passed by their wrought iron gate. Give me a minute, I'll just let the cat in. Come on, Pussy. Come on then. Come on then. Oh, come on then, sweetie. Come on then, sweetie. Come on then, sweetie. Come on then. My precious. Who's my precious? My precious. My precious. Okay. Right. So it was stocky, sturdy Subi with his silver button eyes and suit of striped blue linen, who sat quietly day in, day out at the bay window, watching the birds and the trees and the people who passed by their wrought iron gate. Subi never went out at all. He would watch Appleby as she came and went to the market or the post office. Appleby was always coming or going somewhere once the streets had been aired. She had never, in 40 years, seen the dawn of any day. Try to be a bit more civil, complained Vinetta, knowing that the appeal would fall on deaf ears. Appleby clattered down the stairs and dropped to the floor in front of the fire. If the state of her father's leg puzzled her, she managed not to show it. Vinetta explained the problem. Appleby's manner changed at once. With her when her special skills were called into play, nobody could be nicer. They must have words today, she said decisively. They'll be livid if the warehouse is left unattended tonight. I don't know what's so wrong about phoning. I'm not phoning, interrupted Joshua in a determined voice. All right. Nobody said you had to phone. Well, you're not phoning either. Nobody's speaking to anybody here. Understand? Well, if you would shut up for a minute, I can tell you what we should do, said Appleby, becoming disagreeable again. She stood up and flounced over to the chair by the window, passing Subi on the way and accidentally on purpose knocking his book out of his hand. Give over, growled Subi, retrieving the book and returning to his reading without another word. All right, said Vinetta patiently. We're listening, Appleby. What do you think should be done? Appleby gave her father a token dirty look and decided to return to the topic more graciously. Simple. I'll write you a note and Mum can hand it in at the gatehouse and hurry away. The note was written as if it came from Vinetta. Dear Sir, it began. Do we need to say anything? Grumbled Joshua. I'm just the night watchman, you know. There's nobody there I call dear, or sir for that matter. It's the way it's done, Dad. explained Appleby with some irritation. Ask Grandpa, he knows. I don't know why you two know nothing. Vinetta gave her daughter a sharp look but did not speak. Appleby read out the whole of the note in clipped tones and double-quick time. Dear Sir, my husband will not be able to come to work for a few days. He has a very heavy cold and is running a temperature. By the way, he said he saw a rat in the warehouse last night. He thinks you should get the rat capture before any damage is done to the stores. Yours sincerely, Vinetta Mennyms. And now the cat wants to leave, I think. Why mention the rat? Demanded Joshua crossly. You do want to go back there, don't you? Of course I do. It's my job. It helps pay the bills. Well, you don't want any more trouble with rats when you do go back. It's a pity, really, that you can't claim compensation. Don't be so stupid, shouted Joshua. You're supposed to know so much, Miss Bighead. How would I explain about the stuffing in my leg without giving everything away? Tell me that. At that moment, because he was agitated, more of the kapok fell to the floor. I'll have to do a temporary repair on that, said Vinetta. She returned in a few minutes carrying a woolly hat and a big old bath towel. See? She said, matching actions to words. I'll pad the hole out with this old hat, and then I'll wrap the towel round your leg. And I'll fasten it with 4 safety pins, and it can stay like that until I've been to the market. After she had finished and helped Joshua up to bed and told him firmly that he must stay there all day and all night. She helped Joshua up to bed and told him firmly that he must stay there all day and all night. Appleby can take the note along to Sydenham's, and she can get you a newspaper on her way back. Appleby, however, had exhausted herself writing the letter. I'm not going out this morning. In fact, I might not go out at all today. Why should I run around after everybody? You got me up too soon. I'm tired. It was easy for Appleby to go nowhere. It was easy for Appleby to go anywhere. If there were any chance that she might be looked at too closely, she wore a black felt hat with a floppy brim that hid most of her doll's face. She had also taken in recent months to wearing rather exaggerated makeup. In fact, green button eyes apart, she looked pretty much like any other teenager. Vinetta was used to Appleby's rudeness. She had suffered it in various forms for 40 years. If the current phase seemed even worse than all the others put together, Vinetta could only hope it would pass. So she did not insist or argue. She simply said in an acid voice, If it is so much trouble to you, I'll do it myself. Mind you, I won't be in a hurry the next time you want something stitched or washed at short notice. And that is the end of chapter 5 of the Mennyms. So, see you with chapter 6.